What is going on in today's episode of Schedule Predictions? We have the Jacksonville Jaguars. So after the Jaguars' absolutely miserable 2024 season, they completely cleaned shop. They got rid of head coach Doug Peterson. They picked up new GM James Gladstone and hired a new head coach Liam Cohen to hopefully guide this team into the right direction. So obviously this team was absolutely abysmal last season. They finished ranked dead last in passing defense and pretty much last in every other category. It's safe to say this was the worst defense in football last year. They also had Trevor Lawrence miss 7 of their football games, leaving Mac Jones to be the starter for this team. But there were some bright spots that came with the 2024 season. Most notably, Brian Thomas was hands down the best rookie wide receiver last year. He set tons of franchise records for rookie wide receivers, and the sky's the limit for this guy. He could easily be a top 5 wide receiver at the end of this season. And one of the other good things about being one of the worst teams in the league last year was they got Travis Hunter in the draft. So obviously Travis Hunter is the two-way player, and the Jaguars were one of the teams that were willing to compromise with him on that. This may just be speculation, but I've been seeing a lot of stuff about him playing maybe 20 snaps a game on the defensive side of the ball. But I would imagine most of his role on this team in his first season is going to be at wide receiver. The Jags obviously did a ton of work on their secondary in the offseason. They took Caleb Ransall, quarterback, out of Tulane. This is just one of the pieces they brought in to address that 32nd ranked pass defense. They also picked up Wyatt Millam, offensive guard out of West Virginia. Their offensive line wasn't very great last season either, so they needed some help there in the trenches. They also took Jack Kaiser, linebacker, out of Notre Dame. This guy was ranked in some professionals' top 100 big board, so it was nice that they were able to get him late there in the 4th round. So yeah, in total, I would say the Jags had a really good draft, but their free agency and trades may have been even better. They brought in Jordan Lewis and Eric Murray to address that secondary. They made Jordan Lewis the highest paid nickel corner in NFL history. Hopefully that guy lives up to his contract. They took him from my Dallas Cowboys. But on the flip side, they lost Gabe Davis at wide receiver, and they also lost Evan Ingram, their team's starting tight end. He missed some time last year, but this guy was a stud when he was healthy. So if Trevor Lawrence can stay healthy this season and kind of return to where he was when they were making playoffs, going above 500, I could see this team having a whole lot more success than they did last year. There's still a ton of question marks. Anytime you clean shop like that and bring in a whole new supporting cast, whole new management, there's a lot of stuff left on the table that is yet to be seen. So with that being said, you guys leave me your comments down below. You guys give me your predictions, and let's go ahead and get into the game-by-game breakdown.
Duval.
So starting off week 1 at home, we actually have a pretty favorable matchup for the Jaguars. The key matchup here is Trevor Lawrence's leadership in this new fresh offense. Now, I first want to preface, I do not think Trevor Lawrence, while fully healthy, is an elite quarterback. I think he still has a little bit left to show if he wants to make that jump. He finally has a supporting cast of wide receivers. They also have De'Ami Brown there that I forgot to mention. If this offense can step up this season, I like the trajectory of this team and where they can go in the future. With that being said, the Panthers allowed over 24 points per game last season. I like Jacksonville to win the opening game against the Panthers. Go ahead and give me Jacksonville to get it done in week 1. However, week 2 is a completely different story. This is going to be the true test of how this secondary can hold up. I don't think they're going to finish last again. Hopefully that new defensive regime can come through and be a little bit better, but I still don't think they're anywhere near being in the neighborhood of being able to stop Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, and the Cincinnati offense. Go ahead and give me the Bengals in week 2. Now, I do, however, like the Jaguars to get it done in week 3 at home versus Houston. The Jaguars actually keep it pretty close versus Houston most of the time. Last year, they actually almost winning against Houston with Mac Jones at quarterback. So if this team has improved kind of the way I think they have, I believe they should be able to split with Houston in the 2025 season. Go ahead and give me the home game for the Jaguars. Now, I do not like Jacksonville on the road in San Francisco. This team has always had top tier defensive talent and really good coaching. This is going to be Liam Cohen's first time as a head coach. Go ahead and give me Shanahan and his 49ers. And I also like Kansas City to spoil the Jaguars' only primetime game of the season. For some reason, they gave the Jags a home Monday Night Football primetime game. Go ahead and give me Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to take care of business in week 5. But I do like Jacksonville to recover the following week and take down Seattle at home. And their second out of 3 straight home games in a row. Go ahead and give me Jacksonville to win this one. And then we have a real interesting one. This one is in London, so it's not really a home game. game for the Jaguars. But the Jaguars are the most familiar team with London. They play there almost every year. I would say out of all the NFL teams, the Jags probably have the most fans in London just because they get to see that team play there every year. Also, that's going to be a really tough travel for Los Angeles. So for location reasons, I definitely could see the Jags getting the upper hand and coming away with this one. But I think LA is one of the elite teams in the league. They have a nasty defensive line. I think they might run through Jacksonville on this day. They also have Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. I don't know who in the secondary is really going to be able to step up to the plate and lock down both those guys all day. Go ahead and give me the Rams to spoil the Jaguars' homecoming in London this season. Now, coming out of the bye week, you got to look at these next 5 games. The Jaguars have 4 of them on the road. 2 of those are divisional games, but even the game they have at home versus the Chargers is not going to be an easy one. If the Jags want to make playoffs, I definitely think they need to win 3 out of these 5 games. But with that being said, go ahead and give me Geno Smith and Ashton Jeanty to take down the Jaguars in Las Vegas. And I also think Houston takes care of business versus the Jaguars. I think this is an easy split situation, and the Jaguars might be lucky if they don't get swept against Houston. But I do see a world, however, where Jacksonville pulls it together for 1 week and upsets Los Angeles. Then I think the Jaguars definitely could stumble in these next 2 games versus Arizona and Tennessee. I do believe Tennessee is going to finish last place in this division. You also don't know how Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley are going to pan out this year. So go ahead and give me Tennessee to win that home divisional matchup versus the Jaguars. I do, however, like Jacksonville to win this home game versus Indianapolis and versus the New York Jets. I think hopefully at this point in the season, we're going to see a lot of Travis Hunter. I think it would be cool to see him play both sides of the ball. In either one of these games, expect to see some highlights coming out of Travis Hunter. This Week 16 away game in Denver is going to prove to be pretty difficult, though. This is late in the season where an outdoors game actually does matter. You got a team like this coming from Florida going to the mountains in Denver. It's going to be cold. I like Denver to get stuff done at home. Pretty high on Bo Nix this season, so I like the Broncos to win that one. And I like Indianapolis to also split with the Jaguars. I think they split with all 3 of their divisional opponents this year. And because of that, I have them winning the home game versus Tennessee. That wraps this team's schedule prediction up with a record of 7-10. And I think this team finishes second in the AFC South this season. So yeah, I'm not super high on the Jaguars this year. I think this is largely going to depend on Trevor Lawrence's quarterback play. Like I said, the guy wasn't very good even before he went out last year. If he can rebound and even enter that top 15 conversation, the guy has studs to throw the ball to on offense. And if their pass defense can get a little better, which I think they will, I do see the Jaguars slightly improving their 2024 season into this 2025 campaign. And I believe within the next year or 2, we'll see this team re-enter the playoff conversation. So yeah, guys, I have the Jaguars with a floor of anywhere between 5 or 6 games and a ceiling of 9-8. If you guys agree with that, go ahead and give me y'all's predictions down below. But as for Vegas's line of 7.5 wins, I'm going to have to go ahead and tell you guys to take the lower on that one. All right, y'all, that's going to do it for today. If you guys would, please go ahead and like and subscribe. And in the next one, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see you guys.